do we think Wendy is trying to position, or Wendy and maybe Eddie have decided together to try to position Eddie to take the fall?
Yeah.
It's feeling like that could be their strategy because, how do we say this? I Go podcast. What else is going on podcast? So we'll put it at that. She was in court yesterday. She did such a great job of really thoroughly covering the case and what happened. So she said that as a result of yesterday's proceedings, Wendy and Eddie will be tried separately. Wendy did not waive her right to a speedy trial, while Eddie did waive his right to a speedy trial.
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? What's up, Amanda?
Hi, B. Hi, cocktailers. I feel, okay, so we have daylight savings on Sunday.
You and I really are the same person. I was just going to say I'm coming alive again.
I just feel, I know that you guys have had such a crazy winter, but I feel time is collapsing. It's going faster and faster every year. But was talking because my husband and I, we love to sit out on our back porch. And we were just grabbing some food off the grill last night. And we're like, oh, yeah, this time next week, it'll be
right. And it'll be nicer.
Really?
But that's the problem. And I always think of this when I think of seasons, because you don't want to wish your life away.
No, I love all of the seasons. I do spoil that first week of daylight savings, just like everybody does. I don't think I'm not special. It's just nice to know that, like,
I forgot that it was this week. I just know that it's getting, of course, you and I judge everything by practice drop off and pick up, and it makes it so much easier to run out and pick them up.
Yeah,
when it's light out. So we're gonna have that soon.
My eyesight is not as good in the dark. Driving at night.
We're getting help
to wear glasses.
Yeah, I don't, but I do. I need to go.
Yeah, it really does help me. But yeah. Anyway,
okay, I'm add it to the list.
Yeah, seriously. What another thing AI can't do for us yet?
My friend goes to me the other day, and she's a few years older than me. She's, I'm going for a bone density test next week. I'm like, God, why? I'm going to be 50. I'm like, you got to test your bones when you're 50? She's like, oh my God. She's like, have you gone for any of these checkpoints? I'm like, yeah, yes, I think so.
A colonoscopy.
I need to do that.
But I did not know about this bone density thing.
There you go.
Seriously.
You're welcome.
Mammogram, all of these things.
Yeah.
So fun. This is a women's health podcast.
Yeah. Women neglecting their health.
Women. Yes, women complaining.
I'm only kidding. We do go to the doctor.
We do. Okay, so let's talk about Salt Lake City because, as you guys know, Mary Cosby's son passed away. So we got a note that said the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is officially back in production, and cameras were rolling as the cast addressed the devastating recent death of Mary Cosby's son, Robert Jr. Sources connected to the show tell us that filming for season 7 resumed on Tuesday so that would have been March 3rd, after briefly being paused in the wake of Robert Cosby Jr.'s sudden death. We are told that the women, minus Mary, gathered at Angie's home for the first group shoot of the new season. We're told that the cast discussed Robert's death on camera, making it an emotional return to production. As for Mary, she's not stepping away from the show entirely. Sources say that she still plans to participate in season 7, but chose not to film this week as she continues to grieve. We were also told that she has been telling people she believes returning to work will ultimately help her mental health during this difficult time.
Talk about Obviously, they have to address this. I think it makes sense to address it in a group without Mary there. I just can't imagine. I keep thinking of Mary. I just can't imagine the cast. It must have just been very emotional for everyone. I don't know. I was thinking, Amanda, when I heard she was going to be back filming, I was thinking, am I surprised she's choosing to film? Because I feel she wants to be around people, which is a really good thing. I absolutely agree. And while it will be hard for her, and I would imagine that Robert Sr., whether we see him on camera or not, I would imagine that he's back around Mary.
Right.
So she'll have that support. But I think I'm just picturing it, and I'm like, there is no way any of these women are going to do anything out of pocket or mean to Mary after this.
Yeah.
I really hope not. And if any of them do, I mean, immediately fire them. And then I think it might be good for her to be distracted by nonsense. Even Brittany, who she can't stand, Brittany's nonsense, her getting back together with Jared and breaking up, will be just the distraction that Mary might need.
I actually really understand where Mary's coming from. I have gone through some hard times in my life and always been thankful and grateful for work to keep my mind busy, to keep my body, to keep everything busy is a helpful distraction. It doesn't take away the pain by any chance, but it does help you sometimes not dwell in that pain constantly. So I agree. I don't think there's no way the other women will give her a hard time. What I am curious to see is how and whether this tragedy, if it sets the tone for this season. And what I mean by that is, will the women call a ceasefire altogether with each other, not just against Mary, but with each other out of respect for her? Because it shouldn't take, but sometimes it takes a situation like this to show people that some of these beefs are truly trivial compared to what she and her family have been going through. Or will they just not fight in front of her? I just feel like this can set a tone for the entire season. I'm really curious to see how that all works out. Like I said, I bet as well that they have made a pact to take care of Mary. So not just going after her, but trying to make her laugh, things like that. I mean, that's what I would do with my friends in this situation.
I don't think, I think some of them, listen, we all know this from our personal lives, right? That everything's relative. So when Mary's in the room and you're looking at her, I think it'd be hard to fight about trivial stuff. But if Whitney's filming with Heather, are they not going to discuss what Lisa Barlow and Meredith did that pissed them off? No.
Yeah.
Because
they can't help
tragedy. Right. They can't help themselves. And it's just like we see it in our own lives. There are times that like you hear, even on the news, or a colleague of yours, or somebody peripheral that you hear something awful happens to them. A spouse dies, a parent dies, and you go to the wake. And in those moments, you are enveloped in that grief that they're feeling. And then when you leave and the next morning you wake up, you're right back on your bullshit to complaining about having a flat tire. And you don't keep that perspective like Jane just lost her mom. I shouldn't be annoyed about a flat tire. No, it's the next morning. I wake up and my tire's flat. And I just think that's human nature. So I'm not taking a shot at the women when I say that. So I do think when she's in the room, it will bring a levity of, okay, this is real, what she's going through. And me worried about Lisa Barlow's fake Gucci bag is not real.
Yeah.
But once she's out of the room, I'm going to cackle about the fake Gucci bag because now I have forgotten.
And petty shade like that is always so very welcome.
Oh, yes.
I don't know about you. I thought this last episode of Summer House might have been my favorite all-time episode from that show.
It was great. It was
so
good.
The chaos. We've had a lot of conversations about the arc of the show and how it's all going. I think the new cast is doing, the show is really continuing to deliver. There's a lot to talk about, but something I noticed is when Ben went to go see Carl at Soft Bar, the construction, it looks so cool, by the way. This was actively being built and it was, full on construction. And they talked about who had invested, and Carl mentioned that Jesse had, but that Kyle did not, despite the fact that Carl had invested in Loverboy back in the days where he didn't have much money to invest.
We love pieces to a puzzle, Amanda. We love them. And this season is really showing pieces to the Carl-Kyle puzzle because we see them fight with each other. We saw Carl seemingly throw Kyle under the bus in regards to him disrespecting his wife at the Penn State party. And nothing comes out of nowhere. And I would like to point out, I've been very down on Jesse on this podcast and on social media, and I still am, but I would give credit where credit's due. I think it's wonderful to support your friends. So I thought that was really cool of him. And I get the sense with Jesse that he comes from money. He had a career in finance. He does fairly well as an influencer with brand deals. So I don't feel it was a hardship for him to invest. And it may have been like a small investment, but, you know, everything isn't black and white, and Jesse is having a bad season coming off his sophomore slump season. So it is a good reminder that he didn't have to invest. He certainly wasn't waiting for Carl to mention it because that could get cut. We didn't even know that we knew that Carl invested in Loverboy, but like back when he did it, you know what I mean? Jesse did that as a friend showing support and also showing a belief in Carl's business, which is support. Right. So I would like to give him his flowers, Jesse, for that as a good friend.
Yeah.
Now let's focus on Kyle. As Ben pointed out, it's a risky business. It is very high rent for a non-alcoholic bar. With that said, back in 2019, Carl invested $15,000 to Loverboy. Alcohol is always a hard investment. It's a very saturated market. Carl pointed out he did not have much money at the time, but he did it to support his friend. I absolutely understand and appreciate that Kyle has been pretty upfront that he's in a tough spot financially, but $15,000 is probably 1.5 DJ gigs for him. I would think he could at least match his donation, especially since they're best friends. I was, though, and I want to get your opinion on this. I was in my DMs with people who totally disagree with me. It's more, this is business, but also because of how Kyle is and how Kyle has expectations of friends and the fact that Carl invested with him, I think that clouds it for me. It's not to say that every friend should invest in every friend's business. It's sort of situational for me, for them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think money and friends don't mix. I do think Kyle should have invested in some way, if not the same as what Carl had invested. Because you're right. Kyle does ask so much of everybody in the household. And it's considered a given that everybody supports his business. But it doesn't feel like that rule applies outside of Kyle, at least from, in the world that Kyle has built. I think it does make Kyle look like a bad friend because, to your point, Kyle could make that money in one DJ gig. And we know, yes, that his company is in debt and that he had to put more money into his company. But I think that those are kind of separate situations. So I agree with you. But this week, speaking of all of the summer house stuff, we got some cocktail intel. So this person knows that Ben, who is always posting with his beautiful girlfriend, was actually with this girl since before he was filming. There was photographic evidence on her social media accounts that she has now gone back and deleted. But of course, cocktailers, seriously, if we could put our whole community together, I feel like we could solve anything because, yes, of course, cocktailers have screenshotted it to show that Ben was not single and he was posing as a single person during the season.
We all know and we remember that Andrea was not back to Summer House once he got into a relationship with Lexi and was public about it. I do think there was an intermittent area where he did what Ben did this season. They want single people for the most part. Obviously, there have been exceptions, but more established people. In other words, if Ben as a newbie, they probably wouldn't have cast him.
I can't think of a newbie on that show that has not been single.
Well, Mia, who's Ciara's friend, but it's very clear. Listen, Ciara's a hot ticket on that show, and she obviously requested her as the Paige replacement. She needed a wing woman because Lindsay couldn't be there every weekend, and Amanda is her own hot ticket. So that's like a favor, and Mia isn't being treated as a main player. She hasn't been in all the episodes, and she won't be. If you notice, she's now been there throughout this Jesse situation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Ben we've not seen him be super flirty. We did see him flirt a little bit with Dara, but we got some news on that. So again, cocktailers knew this and we mentioned it on the pod last week. Dara was brought in by West And the reason for her being brought in was the two newbies. It had been a few weeks of filming, and Bailey and
Levi
were not hooking up with anyone in the house.
Right.
And while production liked them, this is what my source tells me, they were like, we need to get somebody in here who's willing to get messy, hook up. Here comes Dara, and we saw her, and it was funny. I think it was Bailey who was, the way Dara was batting her eyelashes. I mean, she was major flirt, gorgeous girl.
She's beautiful.
Flirting with Ben, flirting with KJ. I don't know who knew that Ben had a girlfriend. I can't speak to that. But Dara, according to the source, knew that Ben would not hook up because he did have a girlfriend. Who knows? Maybe they were flirting and off camera he told her.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think she liked KJ? Sure. I think there was an attraction. Do I think that she wanted a seat on the show and she sped it up? I mean, we heard him in the car driving and KJ, and he was like, yeah, like we went out to eat. We cooked for her the next day. She made it all happen real quick, right?
Yeah. First date to then cooking at somebody's house the next night.
Yeah.
I agree. Cocktailers, I have been using the colder weather as a good time to get more organized, cleaning out closets, reorganizing cabinets. Although I feel like I reorganize my pantry once a week. I was feeling like I really wanted to get more organized with my finances and have a better handle on where my money is actually going every month. I think what really pushed me to do this is I was looking back at some expenses for my kids and thinking, did I even know that I was paying that much for a monthly fee for my kids to have debit cards? What else am I spending that I don't even know about? So I downloaded the Rocket Money app. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. So once I downloaded the app, I got all set up within, 15 minutes. Rocket Money guides you through each step. They make it so easy to securely connect your banks, your credit cards, etc., to the app. So then the app then consolidates your checking, your savings, your mortgage, your loans, your investments, so you can look all in one place at your overall financial picture. Since I've downloaded it, Rocket Money has already been really helpful. It's reminded me that a big expense was coming up. It will tell me, you've got to pay your credit card by a certain date. So I really found it to be really helpful to be able to open the app, see a full picture of how my month is going financially. I will tell you, it's definitely making me consider the money I'm spending a lot more carefully. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/cocktails. That's rocketmoney.com/cocktails.
I've reached the point where I just want clothes that are easy, things that look good, feel good, and don't fall apart after a couple washes. I'm not interested in buying something just because it's trendy if I'm only going to wear it once or twice. That's honestly why I love Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the cuts are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. Quince makes high-quality wardrobe staples using premium fabrics, 100% European linen, 100% silk, and organic cotton poplin. They've got lightweight cotton cashmere sweaters that are perfect for those in-between seasons. Plus, really great seasonal colors and prints for spring. It's the kind of clothing that's versatile and well-made. So getting dressed in the morning is actually simple. What I appreciate most is how Quince does it. They work directly with safe, ethical factories and cut out the middlemen. You're not paying for huge brand markups or fancy retail stores. You're just paying for quality clothing. These are pieces you end up reaching for again and again. And it's not just me. Quince clothing is consistently rated between 4.5 and 5 stars by thousands of customers. Real people wearing these pieces every day and loving them. Right now, go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/cocktails. Let's talk about something a lot of women in their 40s quietly deal with: hair thinning and shedding. I'll be honest, I was skeptical of pretty much every supplement out there. It feels like we've all been promised miracle products that claim to work overnight, and most of the time, they just don't live up to the hype. That's actually why I was curious about Nutrafol. Instead of quick fixes, it's about supporting your hair health from within, with a routine you stick to over time. I personally take the Women's Balance formula, and I've been using Nutrafol for a couple of years now. One thing I noticed first was less shedding, especially when I was washing or brushing my hair. Over time, I started seeing improved hair growth and more visible thickness, which honestly has made such a difference for me. When your hair feels healthier, you just feel better overall. Something that made me feel even better about trying Nutrafol is that it's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's also the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code GOSSIP. That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code GOSSIP.
I think that Dara is great casting. I think I would have actually liked to see her from the beginning of the season. She just does seem to have that like swag. So I like her. I see that KJ seems to really like her. So far, I haven't really seen it. Yes, she's been flirting, but we haven't, I guess, a lot of what we're hearing after that first date has happened off camera. So I kind of want to see what happens with that, because I am just sort of wondering if this is all a strategic move on her part, which is not
A crime.
would not be the first time that that's happened as well. So,
And it's also not a crime, and I don't want it to come across we're talking
Like we're
shit
jogging
about
on.
Dara, because I'm
Yeah.
not. You're hot, you're young, you've got a great personality, you want to get on a show, you do what you got to do.
and she's delivering what production wants. So,
Not
yeah,
about her.
I agree. You guys will remember that a while ago we had shared a conversation that was overheard between Dara and her friend. So it was actually BravoCon weekend. The Dara was not there. She was in New York City. Somebody overheard her having this conversation. It said, finally getting to write in as a cocktailer in the wild. Just left Boucherie Union Square, and Dara Levitan was sitting right behind us. She's definitely on Summer House this season, talking about major and scary drama with new cast member KJ. Apparently, KJ has had serious mental health issues and had been acting in very scary ways toward her. One night, he wouldn't leave her apartment, screaming at her, saying he really fucked things up, refusing to leave, and if she wanted him to leave, she'd have to call the cops. She mentioned Ciara, Jesse, and West, which was when the combo caught my attention, so I started paying more attention. They were seeing each other. They were spending a lot of time together. She even mentioned a trip to Ireland, but I couldn't hear if he went with her. But apparently things got bad with him and how he was acting. Once he posted about his mental health issues earlier this month, the producers called her to find out what had been happening behind the scenes. Very scary. She also mentioned having a boyfriend.
So I did want to preface this by saying we shared this in Cocktail Party when we received it in early November, BravoCon weekend. Even though it wasn't at BravoCon, that's the same weekend we got it. I do want to point out that having watched, we're seeing KJ be very open about his anxiety, and myself, and I know most viewers really like him, and he truly seems like a sweet, lovely person. He did post to his Instagram saying he was diagnosed with bipolar and he was working on himself. I believe he mentioned working on sobriety or just getting himself healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sharing the information we received because it's probably going to be shown at the end of the season in some capacity or at the reunion be mentioned. With that said, I think it's important to distinguish somebody who recognizes they have a problem and is seeking help, right? While
Especially
still
a mental health problem,
right.
when there is documented,
right.
mental health issues that are out of people's control sometimes.
So I don't want it to seem like we're being insensitive because we're not. We're sharing information. This was a conversation that was overheard. I will say that I was very happy because this week Dara posted, and she posted a lot of him, and then she actually posted the two of them at a place in Long Island, New York, actually where Carole and Kyle had done an event, Babylon Social or something, and KJ and Dara were there. So now, around this time. So I can't speak to if they're back to dating because in November she had a boyfriend. That could not be the case anymore, but it also doesn't mean they're dating. But obviously they're back on good terms. So I'm very happy to see that. That indicates to me that KJ is doing well health-wise and he is getting the help. So
yeah.
And cocktailers know, and I reposted it. And I really, Amanda, as I'm sure you did, I kind of felt bad having to go back to this piece of information. I think, actually, I know that if I had known KJ, if I were watching the season and we got that conversation, I wouldn't post it. I would hold it. And then if it was discussed at the reunion, I would bring it up because if I knew that this was somebody struggling with a mental health issue, at the time of posting, plus getting to meet him. He's a young guy and he just seems so sweet and vulnerable and a kind person. So I don't think I would have had the heart to post that conversation. But at the time we posted it, we didn't know anything about this guy. He was just somebody that we were going to meet on the show.
How cute was it when KJ was talking to Dara at the party? He first didn't realize who she was at first. But then he literally blurts out, "You're pretty."
Yeah, I love it. I really do love him.
No game on that man.
None.
But that is very endearing. And this is, to echo you, this is a good reminder that mental health issues can come for anyone. And I feel if we're seeing him have mental health issues on the show, this helps us as an audience feel more empathetic towards people with mental health issues in general. And so I think it's really amazing that he is letting the cameras in and he is talking to them because, like I said, he just seems like such a sweet soul. He definitely does not come off as a player or somebody who would be quick to anger,
And again,
like
not to villainize Dara, that is not my...
No.
That is,
she was having a private conversation that
she was having
overheard. Yeah,
but also it seems to me what we may see play out is KJ's more into it than she is, and there's no crime in that.
Right?
She met him. She thought he was cute. She wanted to get on the show. They had a flirt. They made out. Whatever transpired, and then she wasn't as into it, and he was more into it, and so it doesn't make. It makes his behavior bad, but knowing that he is accountable for his behavior and working on improving it, I just mean to say that,
neither is a villain.
I think that it played out because she wasn't as into him, and he was like heartbroken. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think I have a feeling you're right. Okay, let's talk about the Ciara, Jesse, West situation. So you guys will remember Jesse asked West last week if he could hook up with Ciara. Ciara finds out, she's pissed. West is not real happy about it either.
I think Ciara really nailed it. I forget exactly what she said when Lindsay told her. First of all, a moment for Lindsay coming in and handling her business. She's morphing into Madison on Southern Charm.
Yeah.
The voice of reason. I never thought I'd see the day. But I think that Ciara really got it right when she said to Jesse, I don't want to feel like a conquest. If you really liked me, not that I think you should go to West and ask for his permission, but if you felt you should, it would have been permission to take me on a date, not to make out with me.
I mean, he heard her. He listened. I don't know if he fully got it.
This is the thing. I will tell you that you saw he felt bad, but what he didn't say, Amanda, what he could have said, and he had the opportunity to say was, Ciara, you're right. I do want to date you. Since we're having this conversation anyway, I want you to know I have feelings for you. Everything you've mentioned about wanting to have a best friend in the man that you're going to be with and have a family with, I want to try that. Would you go on a date with me? And he didn't. And do you know why? Because he doesn't want that. He wants to hook up and be a fuckboy.
Right.
So she's right. She's 100% right. And West knows that. And like we said last week on the pod, I said, would West feel hurt? Yes. If he felt that Jesse, like Carole, who actually would wife her and want to have a relationship with her, West would say to him, not that it's going to be easy for me, but I want the best for her. And so go for it. But Jesse didn't say that. He apologized for treating her like an object and said he didn't mean to make her feel that way. But he didn't say, would you go on a date with me? Now, you could argue, maybe he didn't want to be rejected. I don't think that's what it was.
Yeah. Then that's at least honest of him. You know, it would have been worse if he lied and said, I do want to be with you when he doesn't. It's good at least that he stopped it there. I mean, I also loved what she said about being disappointed because she thought they were actual friends, and that hearing the way that he was speaking about her really was disappointing because it meant to her that their friendship wasn't on the level that she kind of thought it was.
I think this is, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just going to say it makes me understand why she keeps so many people at arm's length.
I will say, I think that what she said there is something that men will never, although that's not true. No, okay, I guess there are situations where men can understand it. But I can't think of a friend of mine, a female friend, who hasn't been in a situation where she has a really good platonic friend. And I know in my life, I've been disappointed where you're so close with somebody of the opposite sex when you're young, you know, and single. And then they cross that line and it just changes it. And I'm not saying they're necessarily wrong, but it's very upsetting when that happens. And I shouldn't have said men haven't dealt with it, because I'm sure there are men who have had great female friends that they aren't attracted to but love that relationship, and maybe the woman or the girl, whatever, says, oh, I want to date, and then they're like, damn, we can't, because the relationship as you know it dies in that moment. Like, it's done.
I know. It's happened to me. Yes and no. It's happened to me twice. One person I ended up marrying.
I remember that. You told me that.
But the other person, it definitely made things awkward in our friendship for a while, and we definitely stopped hanging out as much. Like, we used to go to concerts and stuff together. We had a very similar music taste, but we always stayed in touch, and we are still friends to this day. And when either of us are, because we don't live in the same town, whenever either of us is in the other person's town, we see each other. So,
right.
But it definitely changed.
Right.
It doesn't. Course of our friendship.
Right. Yeah. I don't mean that you never speak to the person again. I just mean that things change. The relationship as you know it, is forever altered. And
I agree. Did you see Amanda Batula's Marie Claire article?
How could I miss it?
I know. How
good for her. That PR machine is churning. They are positioning her. I am here for it. I know she said in the article, listen, she's still having Kyle's back, which is good. You know what? It isn't good for him for her to bash him. So it's nice of her that she's not. But she said this is not to be compared to Ariana. Her situation was awful and me and Kyle are fine.
Yeah.
And I was going to say she's on the cover, but I don't actually know, because who the hell sees covers? But she's got some spread if she's not on the cover. And she's got a new launch of her bathing suit. She's got brand deals coming out of her ears. She is having a major moment. She said she's the happiest she's ever been. I think we're all watching her because we're seeing the show, and this was July and we're in March. And I know it's making me happy, because even in the episodes where she's having fun, her light is dimmed this season. To be fair, as is Kyle's.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that in this article, it really made it clear, like, she is amicable with Kyle, but also single and ready. It was very clear she's not going to go back to him, but that they're in a good place, because she could be tearing him to shreds in the press, and she is not, which I find to be classy.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned not even knowing if they have covers. I was watching, as we all have been, I think, Love Story. And when he stops at that newsstand, I remember just feeling so jealous of people in the 90s where you could go. Do you remember the day? Or even at the airport, you could just go and you could pick 4 magazines for your trip that you could read. That doesn't really exist anymore. Not the same way it used to.
There are so many things about watching. And I think, listen, yes, are JFK Jr. and Carolyn captivating? Yes. But for people our age and older, it's also so nostalgic to a time that truly doesn't exist anymore. So I got a cell phone in college, I want to say sophomore year, but even still, it was not what it is today.
No, nobody texted. Nobody texted until closer to 2000, maybe 6. is when people actually started, and you have to push all the buttons multiple times.
Yes. There was no Facebook on the phone. We use our PC computers to log on to Facebook or MySpace. There was no MySpace on the phone. You were out with your friends. You were out. And
in my first few jobs, not making very much money, I would buy myself a People magazine or an Us Weekly as a treat.
And there's just so many things that our kids won't have and also will have that suck. The idea that when your kid isn't invited to something, they know it because they're watching snaps
They can
and
see all their
TikToks
friends somewhere. Yeah, not even.
You know what? When I was left out, maybe I'd find out about it later down the road, but I'd be with them finding out and it would just be like, oh, they didn't include me. Oh, well, whatever. I'm here now. As opposed to sitting in my house being left out and having to watch it.
Or the most evil people would be loudly talking about the party that you're not invited to at their house on Friday.
But at least you didn't have to then watch the party you weren't invited to happen.
Right. Or see what because our kid being on Snapchat, somebody was telling me, another parent was telling me that had older kids. So the reason that high school parties end up getting really out of control really fast is because the kids can see where everybody is on Snapchat and then they just show up whether they were invited or not. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I never even thought about it that way.
Well, first of all, I'm no perfect parent because, yes, my kids have it, but I don't allow them to have their location. I just find that to be so unsafe.
Yeah. I agree.
You don't need to know where my kid is.
I'm like, I think I need to get on Snapchat.
Well, I know a lot of moms and dads that are on it for that. I'm not personally on it.
To be with my kid. Yeah. Because they do streaks and all of these things that I'm like, I don't need another social media in my life. But this is one to me feels
maybe we should
a way that connecting with them on their ground, I guess.
Yeah. I don't envy them. I envy me in the 90s.
I know.
And the early 2000s. I mean, I graduated high school in 99, so my college was pure. There's no evidence I'd be unemployable.
I mean, party pics. I had party pics that were in...
Party pics that we had to wait to develop.
You had to wait and get them and order them for $1 or $2 each, and they would show up.
Well, we had the digital ones that you could see one at a time, but remember the camera was so small. You're like, I guess we look good.
Yeah. No, but ours, you would go to a party and then... the party pick guy would be there, and so you'd be like, party pick.
Yeah.
And
my God, that's right. I have a box full of them.
Yes. And then it would say what the party was. It would always what
club or lounge you were at.
Yeah. Right. So and then at the chapter on Monday, the party pick person will have dropped off all of the proofs or whatever. And so then you would go and you put your name next to it and you write a check and then you get your party pick.
First of all, I have a box when my parents were moving, when they sold the house, they downsized, that my parents gave me. I hope they didn't open it. Talk about hot girl summer. It was a box full of me and my friends' party pics of all the different bars and clubs, Hamptons and the city, and all these really cool places we went to. And we didn't know, I don't know who we were taking these pictures with, but it was like us with whoever our boyfriend of the night was. And it was just great. Yeah. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure if I went back and looked at all of my party pics, which are somewhere, I would find them. Half those people are. I wouldn't know how half of them are, but that was the fun of it.
I know who the girls are. I just don't know who the boys are.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the girls are still in my pictures to this day because I keep my friends forever, but the guys not so much.
Me too. Okay, so we were talking about JFK, and obviously that Carole Radziwill knew him. She was married to his cousin. You guys know we've been talking about Carole joining RHONY for the reboot for a while. We first posted it exclusively before it was heard anywhere else. I think back in September. It might have even been in the summer that we had heard, but people, of course, did not believe us at the time.
Amanda, when people question us, even though I'm talking to sources that know things and everything like that, I honestly start to question us. And so I'm just whatever. I'm just going to assume it's not true and take the loss.
Well, it might feel a little oddball, right? Because
it did. Because of the age difference. And a lot of people are saying, where does she fit in? And I am not getting into current events. Zero desire. But based on some of the current events, I wouldn't imagine she would want to be back on. So I thought that may have put the kibosh on it. But we had it on good authority. So I guess we should trust ourselves more and not listen to the haters. Because I would also... Oh, by the way, first day of filming was today. It is Thursday, March 5th. First day of filming was just
You heard it
completed.
here first, guys.
I actually asked where whole cast, so my source will get back to me on that and I will post it. But we weren't just right about Carole. We were right about the entire cast, okay? So back in September, we told you it's going to be Nicole Daisy Toy, Martha Stewart's friend and makeup artist. Erica Hammond, wealthy woman who had a luxurious wedding and is super rich. Haley Glassman, who is best known for being John Gosling's girlfriend back when she was 22 years old. She met him because her father is a plastic surgeon and he did Kate Gosling's tummy tuck for free. Of course, there's speculation that she broke up that marriage. She denies it. More to that is that I don't know if you girls and boys listen to The Toast. It's a very popular podcast. The woman on it.
Follow Claudia.
I do too.
Oshry. Yeah.
So Claudia, I was sent a reel by all of you, and she was like, so the name Haley Glassman was really familiar to me, and I didn't know why. And then it clicked that this is a internet troll that I've had since 2017. And so Haley Glassman would just, you guys know how I post stories, right? And you guys might be like, so funny, or haha, or, oh, excited that RHONY's filming. Haley decided to call her fat and she should lose weight. And then apparently Claudia went on Ozempic and she said stuff like, thank God you went on Ozempic. You look great. Then when she was pregnant, Mazel tov. So I have to tell you.
Said your voice is so annoying.
Yeah.
Like not just stuff about her weight, but she just sounds mean.
I have to tell you guys, as somebody who has a public account and people comment, yes, I have people, Amanda, who like just always comment nasty stuff. I don't show myself, so I'm not subjected to the fat shaming or body shaming or you're ugly. Certainly my voice I get sometimes, or how I think I know everything and all this kind of stuff. And I mostly ignore it. But if I scroll up and it's just all negative, I just block the person because I'm like, all right, well, I don't need to subject myself to, you don't have to be here. If you don't like the content I provide, that's totally fine. It's totally cool. But I also am in the driver's seat. So I could choose not to engage.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same as disagreeing. I have followers who I'm super friendly with, who we don't like any of the same housewives, and they don't like this and they don't like that, but they're not disrespectful. Having a different opinion is different than being, you're an asshole in 100%. My DMs.
Of course. And your voice is annoying and you're fat. And
yes. And I bet you're fat. Like, I've gotten that. Like, people are like, I bet you're fat. I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, whose business is it anyway, if I am or I'm not? So Haley is from, of course, Cocktailers know Haley in real life. She's from New City, New York, which is Upper Westchester. Wealthy area. Dad's a plastic surgeon. Apparently she's always been a bitch. She is now denying that she ever DM'd Claudia and said Claudia made it up and it's AI.
I don't believe that.
Of course not. Why would Claudia? Why would she target some random newbie that she doesn't know?
Yeah.
And then of course Sai, Jessel, and Erin are back.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I am actually really curious to see what Haley Glassman's. I'm the most excited about Erica Hammond because, I did that little mini dive on her and just reading about her because she's not just wealthy because she married somebody wealthy, that is true. She started Rumble Boxing. She's got her own entrepreneurial successes behind her. And then her husband is truly, seriously, I think maybe billionaire or close to it. So we're going to get to see some real wealth, some real luxury. I actually really like her content too. So, we know that doesn't always mean that she'll be a great housewife, but I'm looking forward to it.
And where Haley's concerned, I know I'm hearing a lot of, as people are finding out all of the details that we just shared, why did they cast her? Well, because messy people make good TV, guys.
Right. Okay, so switching gears, I want to first just give a shout out to it's WEIGO podcast. It stands for What Else Is Going On. I forget what her actual name is, but she is on top of those housewives. She covered the Karen trial, the Karen sentencing.
She runs in the area, which helps.
Yeah.
But she's great content. I've always followed her regardless.
Yeah, I really like her. So now she's covering Eddie and Wendy's case. They were back in court yesterday. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to kind of go back to Wendy on the reunion. So first of all, and I know that that I found this very annoying on the last episode, but the frickin' whisper voice is back.
What do you think that means? Is that her I'm lying voice, or I'm scared voice, or I'm going to jail voice?
Or I'm performatively acting like I am scared and innocent. I don't know. There's something about it that just doesn't feel genuine to me. And then Andy, so like the house was all went kind of easier on her, but Andy even said that the evidence does not look good for her. I was surprised he actually made such a strong statement. He did kind of do the sandwich method, though, because he first was, Wendy, I just want to acknowledge you as a housewife. It was almost like he knows it might be the last time he sees her, because he said, I want to acknowledge you as a housewife, that you led with your education, that you led with your family. And he said all these really, really nice things, which I think, definitely got Wendy in her feelings. But going back to what the other lady said, as much as I kind of agreed with what Karen said, which Karen said, Wendy, you need to stop talking. I felt it was really inappropriate of Karen to do that in such a public way, because it made it seem everybody thinks Wendy's guilty and that she has something to hide, which it just made it seem she was saying, stop talking because you're going to get yourself in worse trouble, versus stop talking because we know you're innocent and you just need to be careful. That was what my feeling of the implication was. And I just felt that conversation
but also
should have been had in private.
Yes. And I was thrown off because when they were talking first, they were talking about their fallout previously. And Karen goes, I always appreciated your mother, especially when she told you to shut the fuck up this season. Yeah. I did not read that as her warning Wendy to be quiet, how she said later. Did you?
No. Karen,
she just came up with, she was being a bitch, right? Okay. Yeah. I was like, was she like trying to send a message? And when first of all, absolutely private. And if for some reason she wasn't able to do it in private, because you never know, production may have said, no, you can't go see her. You guys haven't seen each other. Save it for
Didn't say nothing. Or just say, Wendy, I think even saying just be careful about, I can tell you from my own experience, be careful about how much you say publicly. Even that, I feel like it doesn't help Wendy, and it hurts her more than it helps her.
Karen's energy in general was off for me. A lot of guys.
I agree, but
everybody was in my DMs
on it.
I have to just say, I don't know if at this point we've all just had enough of her. Maybe we've just had enough.
Part of it for me, definitely.
I don't know. And Wendy also is now playing, I don't know anything about finances. She did mention it in an episode, but a bunch of attorneys in my DMs were like, they knew they were being investigated. So again, it seems we'll get to We I Go podcast was at the trial. And so we'll get to the update they provided.
I guess the other question is, do we think Wendy is trying to position, or Wendy and maybe Eddie have decided together to try to position Eddie to take the fall?
Yeah.
It's feeling like that could be their strategy, because how do we say this? We I Go podcast. What else is going on podcast? So we'll put it at that. She was in court yesterday. She did such a great job of really thoroughly covering the case and what happened. So she said that as a result of yesterday's proceedings, Wendy and Eddie will be tried separately. Wendy did not waive her right to a speedy trial, while Eddie did waive his right to a speedy trial. We had a cocktailer weigh in on what that means, and here is what this person told us. Obviously, the person hasn't read the motion. The person is not acting as their attorney. This was not legal advice, but she said, just based on the waiving part, she said the Constitution provides your right to a speedy trial and sets forth the specific amount of time that prosecution has to either put up or shut up. If the trial isn't done within the amount of time, which is 6 months from the time of indictment, unless Maryland has some other law, then they have to dismiss the charges. So the idea behind not waiving the rights is you believe the prosecutor won't be ready with their evidence. So you hope charges will be dropped or dismissed in your favor if the evidence won't be sufficient at trial to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. If Eddie is waiving his right, he could be interested in cooperation, and it's possible that conversations regarding cooperation have happened already or could happen. Maybe she lied to him about the jewelry.
People have such differing opinions on if he lied, if she lied, if they both knew. I'm interested to see what happens. I think Wendy's a very interesting case because it has a lot of us befuddled, Amanda. because on the one hand, people cite Teresa and Joe, where Teresa really just signed paperwork and whatever. Wendy's whole personality is her education and how educated she is. But on the other hand, her and Eddie have always presented a very traditional marriage. She has said on camera that she wouldn't know how to pay her mortgage and he handles the bills. And I think the difference is that it's modern in the way that Wendy contributes financially to the household, but traditional in the way that, so her salary comes in, but Eddie takes care of paying the bills and everything, which I have to say maybe in today's world, I think more than not are two income families. But I think that setup may not be so uncommon. And it may not always be because of traditional roles, like husband does it. I think in some households, it's the wife does it, just because in a partnership, there's one person who's better at that kind of thing. But I think when she said, I wouldn't even know how to pay my mortgage, I find that to be an exaggeration. Whether you pay it or not, you probably have access to the account it's coming from. But maybe I'm wrong, right? Because we all sort of place our own life situation onto people in these situations.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting because just because you're educated doesn't mean that you don't have a certain setup in your marriage where finances were handled by one person. I will say that, and this kind of doesn't make sense what I'm about to say, because there were laws broken here. I think that's going to come to light. But I can't picture Eddie doing something like this and not cluing his wife in, because they seem to be very connected as partners. So I feel that laws were broken, but I feel that they both knew about it. That's just my sense.
I have thought through this,
and I could be wrong. Yeah. What are your
because
it's confusing.
The way that she described what happened when they get back from their trip and the daughter says that the dog made a mess and that they're like, wait a second, the dog hasn't been here. If in this situation, I was thinking this through, if Eddie was actually the person who did it all on his own, then he had to have snuck back in the house to make the robbery look like a mess. And I just don't feel like that feels very plausible to me. But, and I think you and I have both publicly said, and I think it's worth saying again, that we truly hope they are innocent for their kids' sakes.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. We were very upfront. When this situation came down, I was absolutely shocked. So much so that I had Wendy's mugshot.
Yeah.
And I thought it was AI, and the person sent it to me. First of all, it was very early in the morning. When I say early,
I mean, it to me. Yeah.
And me and you had a good chuckle about how crazy AI is getting. Because not only was it shocking that Dr. Wendy would break laws, but also she was smiling in the picture. So we're like, okay, whoever's doing AI could have at least picked a picture where she looks scared or sad. But sure enough, half an hour later, I remember TMZ posted it, and I sent it back to you. Holy shit, this was true. Ooh. So we hate to miss an exclusive, but we really didn't.
We didn't believe it.
Shout out to all of our friends who work in courthouses and things of that nature, because you guys are the real ones. You get it to us. But
truly.
Yeah, of course. Listen, of course I want them to be innocent. But the whisper did not seem like that of an innocent woman.
No, it just felt very put on. Okay, I know we're running out of time, but we should talk about the OC really quick.
We should.
So this week, you reposted it, but Heather posted a video on Instagram of her and Shannon with another person named Jen Curley doing this dance trend, essentially. And the video definitely seems to confirm that Jen Curley will appear in some capacity. We'll wait for a little bit more information as it comes in.
So her name was in the running. To be honest with you, when I heard the names, I didn't she has a lot of followers. She is an influencer of sorts. You guys that do follow her love her. A lot of you in my DMs, I asked for details, and a little summary of what I got was that she's an influencer of sorts, but not an obnoxious one. I love that.
The snack queen.
Yes, she's called the snack queen. She's been low-key friends with Heather Dubrow for a while and even appeared on her podcast a couple years ago. She's known as the snack queen and started by posting eat with me or snack videos, and opened up that she was recovering from an eating disorder, but also doesn't make that her own personality either. She's very organic and likable. I don't know. I honestly did not scroll through to see if she lives in a big fancy house. I imagine there's some money there, right? Because
does Heather Dubrow have poor friends?
Well, that's what I was thinking, honestly.
No shade on Heather, but truly.
Right. How would she even become friends with a poor person? By the way, I saw Terry Dubrow making a video, and you know, we are a reality pop culture podcast. We also specialize in the timing of facelifts and when we should personally get them. He did this thing where he holds his lower face and his upper face and then lets it drop. And if it drops significantly, it's time, or it may be time. So of course I'm standing there in the mirror and I'm like, is it dropping? I don't know what he means.
Oh my God, I need to watch this video because now I'm doing it to my face. I can't even see my face right now, but I'm doing it to my face to see if it falls.
Every single one of our listeners, it just put their finger on the bottom. It's like by the eye and by the jawline. I'm like, I don't know. But I don't know. Honestly, I haven't heard much drama coming from the OC. But all they have to do is tell Tamara, bring the drama, and I think she will.
And she will. It should be fun to see if they do, I think they're going to do something else involving some of the older OC people. I think 20 years is something to be celebrated. And
yes,
it doesn't have to all be crazy drama. Some light shade and having fun would be very welcome as well.
And special guests and people from the past. I think it'll be fun. Yeah. Ladies of London, guys, the reason we didn't cover it, we are recording on Thursday afternoon, but I haven't been this pumped. All the clips they've shared, I haven't been this pumped for a new Bravo series in quite a while. I'm really having high expectations.
I especially have high expectations, and I cannot remember his name, but of the one gentleman on the cast was on
Chelsea.
Made in Chelsea.
Made in Chelsea.
Mark?
Is his name Mark?
That sounds right. I've seen a little of his content, and I think he's
going
to have some great zingers. Yeah. I think he's gonna be really fun.
There's something very elevated about English snark, and that's something, as much as I know we all have a weird relationship with Vanderpump after all these years, but that's something I always really appreciated with Lisa Vanderpump. They just do humor very well. Like Ben from Below Deck, they do humor well.
Yeah, I agree.
They can really be assholes and get away with it.
They truly can, and be like, it was just a joke.
They use the CUNT word a lot, like it's just like a common word. And in Ireland, they do too, because I was there and my cousins were like joking. And I'm like, yeah, Americans we don't do that. That's not a thing.
That we definitely know to that word.
We love you guys. We will recap Ladies of London next week.
Oh, yeah.
I love that it's Ladies of London with a man. That's very modern.
Seriously. As all of these shows should have a cranky, snarky gay man as part of them.
100%.
Some of us don't get to have these people in our actual real lives, so we need them on television.
Exactly.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.